So I often get the question, or I often see the question, are the Loaded Fathom or the Tanget or the Zee Brackets good for LDP? This is the Loaded Zee Bracket, and this has caused a lot of confusion. What does this actually do, and is it good for LDP? And the answer is, somewhat. The only thing this does is set the trucks lower, essentially turning a platform into a double drop. And these often get confused or mixed up with something like this. These are also brackets from G-Bomb, but they are adjustable, meaning that when these are set to 0, then essentially these two do the same thing. They just set your board lower. But these allow you to change the angles. But how does that help us? If you want to pump efficiently, you'll need to modify your truck angles a little. It is advisable to have a turny truck in the front and a non-turny truck in the rear. And when we talk about turny truck, we are also talking about angles. For a reverse kingpin truck, like on the Loaded Fathom or Tanget, like this Paris truck, they come at 50 degrees. So basically this angle is 50 degrees. For LDP, however, you want this angle to be higher, about 55 to 60, somewhat in that direction. And to do that, you'll have to increase the angle of the truck. The Zee bracket comes in at 0, meaning that this will stay 50 no matter what. This one, however, if I just put this truck in here, this one, however, now is at 50, but can be increased to, I guess, 62, meaning that this will be good to pump, and this one not so much. So that is the main difference. These things only set your board lower. But how can we turn the Zee brackets or the Fathom, Tanget, however, which setup you want, how can we turn this into a functional LDP setup? For this one, there's a little trick. Let me show you what you can do. This is the Zee bracket with a Paris truck, but I also added some wedges in here. I added another 8 degree of wedging by stacking two 4-degree risers, essentially turning this into a 58 degree truck. And I also swapped the bushings. The stock bushings on the Paris truck, they are a little stiff. I swapped them out with some, I think 75 Riptide APS bushing. If we set up the truck and the bracket like this one is fairly suitable for LDP. It actually feels pretty good. There only is the issue of durability. I'm not sure how the forces that this kind of setup will produce will be distributed along the bracket. It might reduce the lifespan of this bracket, but that's something you should keep in mind. From a functional perspective, this actually works very, very good. But this is only one part of the equation. We also have the rear truck. And for the rear, it's actually a little more complicated. So let's imagine we'll have to put this 50 degree truck and make it less turny. And we do that by de-wedging. We would have to put the wedge like this. And while this is possible, it's not really advisable. You need a lot of wedges. It's not something that is easy or good to do. At least not as good as this one. So you'll have two options here. One option is you still take your Zee bracket, but also take a truck that comes in at the lower degree. So for example, a lower degree truck, as you can see here, for example, this is a 0 degree truck. So something like this would work. This is a little too low, so we'll probably mount it like this, turning this essentially into a 0 degree rear truck. But these trucks don't really come that often. Bear has just released a 30 degree base plate, which would work, but we'll ideally want to go even lower. So this is an option, but I would not really recommend it. I would rather tell you to get something different. And right now, there are actually quite a lot of good options. The Tango Tail is a fantastic offering that is fairly budget priced and performs pretty good. I have this cast truck, which is not safe, but works actually pretty well. I'm not sure how durable it is, but it works pretty well and is also very affordable. Or you could probably use something like this lap skate rear, which is also fairly affordable. These trucks, or these rear trucks, all work fairly well, and I can at least recommend this one and the Tango tail. But I think if you want to get a good performance, you would want a little deck that's a little bit longer than the Fathom. Tanget should be quite alright. You can work with the front truck. Just be aware that this might reduce the truck's and the bracket's lifespan. And for a cheap add-on, go either with the Tango tail or the lap skate rear. And this would be how to set up your Fathom, Tanget, Zee Bracket deck as an LDP deck. I hope this clears up some confusion about the topic. And I hope you liked this video, it helped you, and see you in the next one. Bye!